everyone. So today's video is a mixture of two different fantasy drawings that I did, both created in what I would say quite, anxious moments. One was when I was waiting for my kids to come home, and the other one was created when I was waiting to call them. But the first one that we see here, this dragon, unfortunately, I bought this cheaper action camera, and that's what I was using to film these art process videos. And for some reason, for the past 2 or 3 videos, it wasn't recording the whole process, even though the light was blinking and it said it was recording. When I went to look at the card, which was a brand new card, only a couple of files appeared. So unfortunately, this one, the beginning of me sketching it out and painting, is not recorded. So here I'm using my Ecoline markers, and at first I paint on it merely with the marker and then use the paintbrush, but then I decided to put a little bit of the color or watercolor ink paint on the ceramic plate that I have, where I tend to put some of my Ecoline paints on, and then I go in and I darken the ears and outline some of the features, which is, a good way. I like to travel with my Ecoline markers and either use them like this or paint on the page and then use my water paintbrushes that I have for travel. And so here I'm just adding some more detail to the horns as I go on. But I was quite frustrated when I realized that the files were not properly stored in the SD card, because I thought, again, here I could show you what I do and how I approach these moments of anxiety and how I use art to just create. And this creature, I looked at some reference photos that I found on Pinterest to get a sense of the anatomy of a dragon, you could say. I really enjoy dragons. That's like my go-to fantasy drawing, but sometimes I need a reminder on different shapes of the head and the horns and the neck and the body and the torso. But then from there on, it was all from me. I didn't really think about it. I just created. I just drew. I painted. And it was a lot of fun to just have these dripping paint colors fall through and create this like very erratic background. You have no real sense of where this dragon could be. It could be a cave. It could very well be a cave. But it was a lot of fun. I was just grabbing some magenta and some of the leftover Moonglow and Payne's Gray and just painting a very light wash. The magenta, of course, since its Ecoline is very highly pigmented, and what was left of Moonglow and Payne's Gray was just really very small amounts of paint, and I just didn't want to waste it, so I thought I would just use it. So it was a lot of fun to create this painting, and it really helped me not focus on waiting for them to come home. Because it was always the last few minutes, like, oh, are they approaching now? Will they be here now? It's like a little kid, when are we there? When do we get there? Are we there yet? Type sensation. Because it was very difficult for me to be away from my kids for so long. They were gone for 3 weeks. And I was only able to talk to them twice a week. But I won't get into that. So to focus on something else, I decided to grab a sketchbook, which I had forgotten completely about. It's halfway full, and in it, pretty much every single painting has been where I'm not really looking at a reference photo, and it's just me painting. Just looking at it, thinking, okay, let me add a little bit more here, let me add a little bit more there. But instead of really paying attention to a reference photo, I'm just paying attention to myself. What I'm feeling, what is lacking, what I want to release, what I want to put on the page. And that is the result. I will show you guys later so far what I have in my sketchbook. And you can see that some of these creations are just quite free and loose and a lot of fun. One part that I wasn't quite sure what to do were the wings. I wasn't sure if I wanted them to have a certain effect, and then finally decided I wanted them to have like this green translucent feel to them. So first I did the red arm bone structure, if you want to call it, wing structure. And then once that was dry, I added a very light mixture of sepia and green just to wash. And then I did an outline with my fine liner from Faber-Castell. Then I would go back and forth, adding a little bit more of texture, and because I love comic books and I like the outline look of creatures. Once, if they're not realistic, then I like adding that outline. That's what I love to do. And then I add the white ink for some highlights here and there on the horns. Then I was just looking about where else could I add some, so I added some to the tail, which is a mixture of hair and fire. And then I went to look for one of my gel pens to add my signature at the bottom in pink. I love that color, neon pink. So since I had also still had time previous days to create another fictional creature, I decided to create a hippocampus, which is from Greek mythology. This was created with Procreate, and it is a half horse, half fish type of creature. And at first I was just trying out the new brushes that I had gotten, the Max Pack. I believe this is the Painter package of paintbrushes. I really love them. They are a lot of fun to paint with. So first I was just playing around. I had like half an hour before calling the kids, and I was just creating a sky, not really knowing what I was doing. And then slowly, once I was done adding different tonalities for the clouds, I decided I don't know if I wanted to just leave it as clouds. So then I began drawing this horse slash fish creature. And again, I only was looking at references for proportions and anatomy, but once I had the body completed, I wasn't looking at anything and I was just creating as I went. Even the colors, I just thought these are base colors. I can always change them later. And it was just pretty much for fun, to completely distract myself and to make it okay, to make the anxiety go away, to really just release and let go and be present and just enjoy those few minutes before I would be able to talk to my kids. Because it's difficult, you're always thinking about what's coming next, how is it going to be, what are they going to say? And here, I had time. Why couldn't I just enjoy it? And so I was just playing with all these different brushes and textures and new features. And then, of course, since I had created it on top of a cloudy sky background, it didn't fit at all. It's like, what is it, floating in the air? It just doesn't fit with this mythological creature. But I was still focused on the creature itself. Here I'm using one of the organic brushes, Reed, I believe it's called, to create the outline. And it really makes it pop. I just love creating these comic-y outlines. And it was a lot of fun. I mean, I did some mild adjustments to the brush settings. And here with the shadowing of the bottom part, I was really thinking, how do I want to create it? I also wanted to leave some of the pencil work shine out and add some textures to the fins. So then I started doing the background over, covering the clouds, creating more of an ocean feel. I was thinking, well, which way do I want the highlights to be shining? I prefer it coming from the back. And it was so much fun. It was really relaxing just to play, completely play. I didn't really care what the outcome was going to be. I just wanted to be calm and be able to enjoy this moment. And Procreate is such a fun tool to use. So much fun. And so yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video and watching my process. Leave a comment down below of what you would like to see next, and watch out for Wednesday when I post another art process video. You guys have a great day. Bye!